Sean Lennon here on the Fight Report. Right now we're talking to Tyson Chartier. He's the head coach of MMA Cartel in Massachusetts. His fighter, UFC featherweight Calvin Kattar, will be in action against former UFC featherweight Max Holloway at UFC Fight Island. Make sure to check that out next Saturday, ABC and ESPN Plus. And, of course, won MMA Junkie Coaches of the Year Award along with Eric Nicksick of Xtreme Couture. And we appreciate you being on the show. And for people that don't know, obviously you wear multiple hats because you also are in fighter management with the MMA New England Cartel as well. So talk about that.
Yeah, so I have Top Game Management where I manage a bunch of guys. And, I'm fortunate to have my hand in a bunch of different gyms, and I get to work with some of the best coaches, especially around New England. And I get to help guide some careers outside of coaching. And then I just coach, the Cartel, and we have a good team with Rob and Calvin. We get some young fighters up and coming, and it's been cool. I wear multiple hats, but it's just all about just helping people that have a need. If they need help with management, I help them, and then obviously Rob and Calvin, as their coach, I do a lot with that, and it's been crazy. It's been a great 2020 though.
Good. Yeah, talk about that, early on. I mean, how did you figure out how to get everybody, obviously being training for their fights? And was that a challenge, and actually, getting fights for fighters that weren't in the UFC?
Yeah, so outside of the UFC, it's still a challenge. Like Northeast, I think, has been one of the hardest hit regions. It's probably like a lot like California, where there's just no shows going. And, we're fortunate that Bellator, is kind of posted up in Connecticut. So you're able to squeeze some guys on cards there. But the real prospects is, you're not going to be able to get them the right fights or the builder fights or, the high level amateurs and the low level pros. Is, they're not going to get flown out for, an LFA card unless it's to lose. And, so it's been tough for the local MMA scene. I think we've been hit pretty hard. And, but in the UFC, they're chugging along, and Bellator being there, so if you're already like a seasoned pro, there's been a lot of opportunities, guys that were getting in the UFC that might not have if COVID hadn't hit, and guys getting signed to Bellator now. And, you just see some people took the pandemic and hid from the gym, and other people took the pandemic by the horns and leveled up and progressed their careers. And, when COVID hit, I would say within 3 hours of like all the gyms saying, hey, we're closed, like I pivoted, I made some calls, and I had a new schedule for Calvin because he was every fight got canceled except for UFC 249. So Calvin still had to train, so there was never hesitation on myself or Calvin or any of the other members of the team of should we fight or not fight. We were ready to go. It was just a matter of what was the camp going to look like, where we're going to train, and all that. And so, like I said, like within 3 hours, I'd put together a new schedule, and that's what we did for the Stevens camp. We kind of parlayed that into the EGA camp, and then after the EGA camp, we kind of had a little bit to breathe. We were kind of just chugging along, and then we got Rob got his fight against Marlon, and that's when we really started to buckle down and really tighten the circle because COVID started to get bad again, and that's when then we got the Max fight, and it started to get a little scary. I'm not gonna lie, like my wife was like, "Can we take the kids anywhere?" I'm like, "No," I was like, it's been hard. So it's my whole family and everybody's network has been having to sacrifice because we don't want anybody else in the gym. I'm telling we didn't see our wrestling coach the last 2 weeks of Calvin's camp because he'd gone to Florida for Christmas. So I'm like, just stay away. Our jiu-jitsu coach, I didn't let him in the cage for the last 2 weeks because he still had to teach some jiu-jitsu classes. So I'm like, well, we're just getting so close at this point that doesn't make sense to have you hands on Calvin right now, so he was watching the outside with the mask on just to be safe. But yeah, man, it's crazy. It's easy to think about all the things that were hard, but at the end of the day, I'm sitting here in Vegas, and in like 8 hours, we're taking off to Abu Dhabi to be the main event against the #1 ranked fighter on ABC. So it seems like it's working out.
Definitely. And then talk about Calvin Kattar. Obviously this is a big fight for him. Max Holloway, former champion, a lot's at stake, obviously, with every fight, but this one in particular, when you have Max Holloway, who's very tough, he's backed into a corner now with 2 straight losses. How do you feel Calvin Kattar will take advantage of that? And not only take advantage, but he has to be careful because, Max is obviously deadly when pinned into a corner.
Yeah, I mean, Calvin wants these big moments up, big moment opportunities. He's trying to show everybody that he's a headliner and a title contender. And, you know, we didn't quite take advantage of that in the Zabit fight. But since then, you've seen Calvin, like, he's like a different fighter. He's really just trying to get out there and hurt these guys. And, you know, Ige's tough as hell. So the fact that we didn't get a finish there is, you know, no slight on Calvin. It's more of a compliment to Ige's toughness. And, you know, Max lost 2 in a row. You could argue that he won that last one. He's obviously hungry. He's a super smart fighter. He's got a high fight IQ. He has good coaches, and he's got big fight experience. So now it's our turn to go in there and show him that doesn't intimidate us. You know, we're there to prove to the world that, you know, we're the number one guy and that we should get a title shot and that we're not going to be intimidated or bullied. And I think Calvin has the style and the skill set to do that. Now it's a fight's a fight. It's a matter of just going out there and executing on fight night.
Definitely. And, you know, talk about, obviously, Rob Font, big win for him, you know, against Marlon Moraes, former contender. Anything surprise you about that? Is this not shocking you? Because I know a lot of people, you know, had Marlon for that fight and the way he executed it.
I mean, I didn't think we'd drop him with a jab, if I'm being honest. But I do know that he was susceptible to jabs, you know. So, you know, a big part of our plan was to stay patient, weather the storm, be super calm and patient and careful on the ground getting up because we knew we'd be attacking the guillotines. And, you know, everything he did, we had a plan for. I would have liked, you know, maybe defend that second. The first takedown I'd give Rob because that was a kind of a surprise. But then he got taken down again against this, you know, against the fence. He tried to throw a knee with his back to the fence, which in hindsight maybe wasn't the smartest idea. And, you know, we've talked about that. And, you know, those are lessons learned. And then, so I have to get back in the gym and, you know, kind of go over those positions with Rob again and talk about, you know, maybe not doing that next time. And, you know, just trying to always make better decisions at every scenario or at every scramble and, you know, exchange and stuff like that. So fortunately, you know, he got back up, and then the minute he touched him, we knew that Marlon, his head wasn't right, you know? And, so the outcome didn't surprise me. What we heard him with, you know, I was like, oh, okay, figured coming off a knockout, he was going to be more susceptible to being knocked out. But, man, you know, I actually really like Marlon Moraes. I think he's a super nice kid. I know he's a family man. Every time I've seen him in, like, locker rooms and stuff, he's always been super friendly. So, yeah, I hope he can get back in the gym and recover and come back strong because he's a beast. And, you know, I think some people are not really high on Rob, but then you hear the murmurs of like, oh, you know, he just caught Marlon at the right time, which is true. He did catch Marlon at the right time, but Rob's also just that good, you know? So I don't think people should be taking anything away from Marlon on this. I think they should just look at it as like, Rob really is that good. And, you know, we have a new contender.
Definitely. And, you know, obviously we just found out that Aljamain Sterling, Payan, you know, they're scheduled for March. So, you know, when you look at that fight, you know, who do you have winning in that one? And Rob Font, you know, he's kind of on the outside. I'm not sure if he would be considered for a replacement at this point, but, you know, would it line up that the winner of that fight, Rob would be able to take on in the future?
I mean, that'd be great. You know, all we can do right now is stay ready and see what's next. You know, TJ's out there. I think that fight makes sense. TJ probably wants a title fight, but, you know, that's UFC's going to have to figure out what they want to do. You know, maybe they make us and TJ fight and the winner gets a title shot, or maybe whoever wins that Sandhagen and Frankie get one. I don't know. But all I know is, like, we get one big name fight again, then you got to think we're one fight away from a title shot. So we get one big win, and then we should be fighting for title, you know. So it just depends on who we fight, how we look, and then, you know, with COVID and it's getting to be winter, like, any of these guys can pull out. You know, he could be fighting Corey Sandhagen, he could be fighting Frankie Edgar, he could be fighting Pedro or Jimmy if one of those guys pull out in February. He could be fighting, you know, he could, if Aljamain pulls out, who's to say he doesn't jump in if they don't choose to give it to TJ or, you know, whatever. So our job is, the team motto is focus on what we can control. And the only thing we can control right now is staying ready in case an opportunity comes up, and then take advantage of the opportunity.
Definitely. And then talk about, you know, also the top game management, you know, some fighters that we may not, you know of that are coming up, you know, and how would you like to, you know, describe them to us? Obviously, Contender Series is going to be back for another season. Hopefully, we know Ultimate Fighters it's a long way to return. So taking advantage of those opportunities, how do you feel your, in particular, top game management is going to be able to factor into that?
Yeah, I mean it's a weird year, man. Like some guys getting in the UFC that you didn't think would have. There's some guys getting on the Contender Series that you didn't think would have. Like, different doors are opening that wouldn't have. So it's very unpredictable. But goes back to all we can do is try to just stay ready. And as far as some of the guys that got fights coming up, Mike Rodriguez fights February 6th against Danilo Marquez. That should be here in Vegas. February 27th, William Knight against Alonzo Menafield.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are excited for that. Those are just two super athletic, strong, physical specimens, and it's just going to collide. I'm excited for that one. I think I'm cornering for that one, so I'll get a ringside seat to that clash. That'll be fun. Plus, William's super fun to spend a fight week with. He's entertaining. So, and then looking for Parker Porter to get. He just got his first win in the UFC. He's been at it for 15 years. He fought John Jones 12 years ago.
Wow.
On the local scene, so it was nice to see him get a win against what's his name, the spinning back, I don't even know, Parisian, Josh Parisian.
Yeah,
so he just got to win a few weeks ago against Parisian, so look to see him get rebooked, and it's so we just did sprints outside and it's cold, so I'm ready to die. But so yeah, and I'm excited about those fights that are coming up, and then guys that are sitting on the sidelines like Mitch Raposo. He's 5-0. Kid's a beast. I think he's he's a 25er, but he's 5-0 at 35. And he'd be perfect for the Ultimate Fighter. Cameron Lachinov, he's I want to say he's 11-3 now, but he just lost in Bellator, but it was fight of the year. And the kid he lost to was 9-0 or something like that. But I mean, so now he's 5-1 in Bellator. He's a free agent. I think he'd be perfect at 185 on the Ultimate Fighter if they take him off an L, or if Bellator signs up, they just sign him to a multi-fight deal. So, and then Alexander Blue's been sitting on the sidelines. She 1-0. She fought for Bellator, then had another fight, the tore ACL. So we're just waiting to get her booked. Kyle Bochniak is fighting it's not announced yet, but he's fighting for a promotion down in Florida at the end of January.
Okay.
So that'll be his first fight since getting released by the UFC. So I think we're excited to get him a win or two and then try to get right back in. Because he had that exciting fight with Zabit and then showed that he belongs with some good talent. But then he underperformed. And I don't say that in a talking crap way. Me and his coach always talk, and we say if in the gym Kyle shows up on fight night, he's a top 10 guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sometimes it doesn't come out on fight night, and he's kind of fallen victim to that. But his potential, is very, very high, and I think a lot of people are probably sleeping on him just because he lost to some guys that people didn't hear of, hadn't heard of. But yeah, I'm excited to see him get back in there and start another winning streak.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see all these fighters, perform. Obviously, some have opportunities, some are awaiting them, and hopefully, there's more opportunities for you. Seeing what UFC does, a few times backstage, do you feel like that process could be duplicated to put on some events in the regional level?
Yeah, so Calvin is a promoter. Calvin owns Combat Zone in New Hampshire, and one of his big plans. He's been in camp for all 2020. To us, 2021 hasn't started yet. It doesn't start until Calvin fights on the 16th, because our goal was 3-0 for 2020, and we've been waiting to get the bout agreement for the Max fight, not knowing the date, and it just so happened it was in January instead of December. So it's just 2020 extended for us. We'll celebrate the new year on January 17th out on Fight Island, and then we'll get into high gear for 2021. And one of the goals is me and Calvin are going to sit down and we're going to figure out how to do a show. It's going to take a lot of lobbying with the commission. New Hampshire's got a great commission. They're good guys. It's just we have to sit down and come up with a plan of how we can do it safely, because obviously we don't want anybody getting sick or anything like that. So we have to sit down and come up with a plan. Being around the UFC and Bellator has given me, obviously, me and Calvin a lot of ideas and insight on how it can work. Now it's just figuring out a way that can work with the budget that we don't have that the UFC and Bellator does. It's different. So it's going to take a lot of concessions. It's going to take, some of the guys that I manage being willing to fight for, scraps just to get the fight. It's not about the money. It's, some of these people need fights, and it's not about the money. And the people that get it, and those are the people that will succeed. And then there's some people that may not get it, and they won't think it's worth fighting if they can't get X amount of money. But, we'll focus on the people that appreciate the opportunity to just build their resume and get one step closer to their goal. And for those people, me and Calvin are like really hungry to just grab the bull by the horns and get a show going.
Definitely. No, it's definitely understandable. Obviously, we miss, MMA. I mean, people see, what you do in UFC, but they don't realize like every other weekend you're doing regional shows. I've gone to events as well. Like there's so much MMA events going on outside of like UFC and Bellator, and it's sorely missed. Obviously we need to figure out how to make that development pool continue along.
Yeah. Where do you live?
I live in Chicago.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys got what shows do you have out there? I know LFA was doing shows out there for a little bit, right? And then
we have Hoosier Fight Club, which is pretty well known. We've had like Dominic Reyes, he fought there. Yeah. He's probably the biggest name. Fought there, and a few other guys like Bobby Wolfman Moffat and a couple others that fought in UFC and are in UFC currently and Bellator. So
nice. Yeah, I don't know Jim in St. Cloud, Minnesota. So Brock with Tony Martin and Brock Larson. So that whole area up there is pretty. It's like an untapped resource. Like there's a lot of good fighters up there, but they don't make it out of there.
True. Yeah, HFC has been good about getting these guys opportunities and getting them to shine and having like fighters not just from the local gyms, but fighters from like big name gyms like ATT, Elevation Fight Team, and a few others.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's always been welcome addition, and we're just praying that they can have an event next year, obviously, and they have a busy schedule they'd like to get back on.
Yeah, hopefully with vaccine starts to change some stuff, and we'll see. Mm-hmm. It's a challenge.
For sure. Yes. What are you looking forward to doing on Fight Island the most? Like what we're seeing there, it's going to be a blast. It's kind of like a little vacation, but not quite. Obviously, you got the big fight that you're,
Dude, there's nothing to do. They shrunk the bubble again. So now it's just the hotel, and then the road that goes to the driveway that goes down to the road. So you just get the hotel, the little walkway around the hotel, and then like a small path that goes down to the road, but that's considered the green zone. We're not allowed out of that. So we can't go to the F1 cars. We can't go to the beach. We can't go to the other hotel. So really it's just, we fly out tomorrow morning, 16 hours. We'll land like 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, Abu Dhabi time. We'll get tested, sit in our hotel room for 24 hours, get tested again, sit in our hotel room for 24 hours. And then Monday morning, we'll be allowed to break quarantine, but there's like nowhere to go. It's like you can get out of your room, walk around, go outside. I brought a football this time, dude. I literally brought a football just so we can have something to do outside. We can throw the football around. And I was talking to Mickey Gall, and I was like, bro, just because he's like, I'm going to Fight Island. It's going to be awesome. I'm like, yeah. He's like, bring some activities. He's going to bring some cards, and I'll bring a football, and hopefully, we can just have some fun. It's obviously – there's a lot of work to be done. Calvin's the main event, so he's got some media. We tried to knock a lot of that out today, so we don't have to deal with it next week. And then after that, he's got, just different media obligations while he's there, photo shoots, interviews, stuff like that. But there's a lot of downtime, and try to fill that time up. And then, obviously training and then the weight cut. And then I'm not even worried about till the fight because then you're so focused on the fight. But the hard part's going to be we fight on Saturday, the 16th, right? Well, technically Sunday morning, the 17th, but like whatever. So Saturday night. But then we don't fly home until Thursday night. They're making us wait until the Wednesday fight's over, and then we'll fly back with all those people. So I'm like, oh my goodness, that's gonna be. But everything's like Calvin always says, everything's better off a win.
Yes,
the water tastes better after a win. Everything. So we get that win against number 1 Max Holloway. We're gonna appreciate being there for 4 days, soaking it up, being there with our buddies. We always call those checkpoints or life moments. Those are moments that you'll talk about for the rest of our lives. Like, remember the time we went to Abu Dhabi and beat the number 1 guy, the GOAT, and then we hung around in the hotel and we were so freaking bored for 4 days and all we do is eat and, just little things like that. It's, it's kind of like, those are the moments you'll miss down the road, like these, the brotherhood. So I try to soak it up, try to appreciate it. You miss the family, but, it's everybody sacrificing something, so.
Roughly, like you guys will do like a post-fight holidays and gatherings,
Yeah, I think our plan is probably go. I think we're gonna do like for Calvin, we're gonna do like a big after party at the Tuscan Grill and
Nice.
rent out the room and just have everybody there. There's some good food. They're up in Salem, New Hampshire, so we'll get a bunch of food and have everybody come and just celebrate. You know, we have a lot to celebrate to finish off 2020, and hopefully we'll be celebrating a win over Max too.
For sure. Well, I appreciate you, Tyson, for being on the Fight Board today. And remember, let us know how to check you guys out. New England MMA Cartel. You know, obviously you're looking to sign talent with top, you know, your agency as well. And so,
Yeah, so
tell us how we can follow you.
Yeah, so New England Cartel has an Instagram page now, NE Cartel MMA. So you can follow us on Instagram. And then mine's just Tyson_Chartier on Instagram. And yeah, just stay put and link in both bios for the NewEnglandCartel.com. We're selling a bunch of swag, hats, sweatshirts, sweatpants, you know, different things. So we've been selling a lot of merchandise there. We're pretty appreciative. You know, we thank everybody for the support. And yeah, Dan, just keep doing what you're doing, Sean. And you know, cheer for us on the 16th on network television.
Definitely, man. Well, I like both guys, man. I have to be honest with you. So.
There's nobody that can say they don't like Max Holloway or Calvin Kattar.
Yeah,
it's like the two nicest badasses going at it, and they're going to be mean to each other for 25 minutes. They're going to hug after.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it's Calvin's still selling his famous shirts.
Catermania, yeah. So if you go on,
yes.
I think if you go on CombatZone.com or CombatZoneMMA.com, they have a link or just follow Combat Zone on Instagram. They have a link in their bio to the Catermania swag.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody check those out, man. If you're an old school wrestling fan, and that's where Calvin Kattar, beautiful. And then Calvin, he doesn't have a nickname yet, right? So that'd be just kind of like an allude to, you know.
He has like an unofficial nickname. It's the Boston Finisher, but he doesn't like call himself that. They'll, you know, when they announce him at the UFC fights, they don't say like Calvin the Boston Finisher. They just say Calvin Kattar, but a lot of people call him the Boston Finisher because that was like his original nickname that they gave him, but he never adopted it.
Definitely. I mean, I know that, you know, obviously he had a huge following, you know, bringing up with the pro and amateur stuff, and he got the marketing right early on, right?
Yep.
That's what I saw.
So.
Appreciate it, Tyson. Happy New Year to you, man. I appreciate you. Safe travels, of course, and best of luck.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Take care. Bye.